What if the stories you've forgotten were the ones that could change your life? It started with my grandmother's eyes, once sharp and lively, now clouded by confusion. Alzheimer's had been quietly stealing pieces of her from us for years, but it wasn't until recently that her mind began to drift entirely into the past. She no longer recognized my face, her own granddaughter, and I had to swallow the sting of it. But in place of her present-day confusion came vivid, strikingly detailed dreams of her childhood memories that had been buried for decades. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. I would sit by her bedside, listening as she mumbled in her sleep, or talked to people who weren't there. It felt like eavesdropping on a private conversation with ghosts. But then, one day, she woke up, eyes shining with a clarity I hadn't seen in months, and started telling me about a summer day from her childhood. It was the year of the big flood, she said, her voice soft yet firm. The waters came rushing down the hills and swept away the bridge by the old mill. I was only 8, but I remember it like it was yesterday. Papa carried me on his shoulders across the river because I was too scared to walk. I sat there, spellbound, as she recounted the scene in vivid detail, the color of the water, the sound of the rushing current, and the way her father's hands felt, rough but steady. It was a story I'd never heard before. Not from her, not from anyone. Over the next few weeks, her dreams grew more frequent, and so did her stories. Some nights, she was a young girl again, running through the fields of her family's farm. Other nights, she was a teenager, filled with the uncertainty and excitement of young love. Each story was a window into a past I had never known, a past she had never shared. I started recording her dreams on my phone, not wanting to lose a single word. I found myself drawn into these stories, piecing together a history that felt as much mine as hers. There was joy in her tales, like the time she and her sister stayed up all night watching a meteor shower, giggling under a blanket of stars. But there was also sorrow, like the story of the baby brother she lost before he could take his first steps. One day, she spoke of a love she had long forgotten. His name was Thomas, she whispered, as if afraid the memory might slip away if she spoke too loudly. We used to meet by the old oak tree at the edge of town. He gave me a locket with his picture in it, but I lost it when we moved away. I cried for days, thinking I'd lost him too. I had never heard of Thomas before, but the way she spoke of him, I could feel the depth of her loss, even after all these years. I wondered what her life might have been like if she had found that locket, if Thomas had stayed in her life. As I recorded more of her stories, I began to see my grandmother not just as the woman I had always known, but as a young girl, a sister, a daughter, a lover. Her memories became a bridge, connecting me to a family history that I had never fully understood. I realized how little I knew about the lives that had shaped my own, about the resilience and strength that ran through our bloodline. Her stories gave me a new sense of belonging, a connection to a legacy that was richer and more complex than I had ever imagined. I began to see my own life in a different light, my struggles, my fears, my joys. They weren't just my own. They were echoes of the generations that had come before me. As her Alzheimer's progressed, the vivid dreams began to fade, and she slipped further away from the present. But the stories she had shared with me remained, a treasure trove of memories that I could pass on to future generations. My grandmother may no longer remember my name, but through her dreams, she has given me a gift beyond measure, a deeper understanding of who I am and where I come from. And in that, I have found a sense of peace, knowing that the stories of our lives, no matter how deeply buried, can always find a way to the surface. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with your friends. Thanks for watching.